Hello, dear students. So we shall be discussing your CET paper on the chapters inverse trigonometry, continuity, differentiability, differentiation, and matrices, which you just wrote on 7th July 2023. So very easy paper. We'll be really quick and let's get started right away. First question. So sine of 2 cos inverse 3 by 5. This is a direct question. Whenever we have sine 2 theta, we simply write it as sine 2 theta is nothing but 2 sine theta cos theta. So we write this as 2 sine of, I'll call this as theta. So cos inverse 3 by 5 can also be written as sine inverse 4 by 5, right? So 2 sine theta cos theta is sine 2 theta, and I'll write for theta sine inverse 4 by 5 in the first term, and in second term I'll write cos inverse 3 by 5. So cos and cos inverse gets cancelled, sine and sine inverse cancels. So you get 2 into 4 into 3, which is 24 by 25. So that's option A. All right. So straightforward, just use the formula sine 2 theta, and to cancel sine and sine inverse, you express theta in terms of sine inverse. Next one. Whenever they give inequalities on inverse trigonometric functions, all you need to know is when you transfer the inequality to the other side, when you transfer the inverse function to the other side, what happens? So sine inverse, tan inverse, they're all increasing functions. So when you transfer it here, inequality doesn't change. It just becomes x is greater than sine y. But cot inverse and cos inverse, they're all decreasing functions. So when you transfer the inverse, inequality changes. So we end up getting n by pi is greater than cot pi by 6. Now cot 30 is root 3. So this will be root 3. So n is greater than pi root 3. Now you'll just have to calculate what is pi into root 3. Pi is 3.14 and root 3 is 1.7 approximate. So I'll just take this as 3.1 into 1.7. So 17 threes are 51. So it's somewhere like 5 point something. So n has to be greater than 5 point something. So then n should be less than, inequality changes, right? Inequality changes. So n should be less than 5 point something. So the maximum value is n equal to 5. Again, a straightforward question. Okay. Third question, very easy again. All you'll have to do is, our goal here is to cancel the cos inverse with a cos term, right? So this 1 by root 2, I'll multiply to both the terms. Now that 1 by root 2, I'll write in the first case as cos 45. And in the second case, I'll write it as sine 45. Why am I doing this? In one place, I'm writing as cos and another sine. The whole idea is so that I get cos A, cos B minus sine A, sine B. That is cos of A plus B. So when I get cos of A plus B, it will cancel with the cos inverse. So this will become cos inverse cos 9 pi by 10 plus pi by 4. Actually, if you take LCM, you'll get 46 pi by 40, which is 23 pi by 20. But we know that for me to cancel cos inverse and cos, the theta must be within 0 to pi, right? So 23 pi by 20, I can write as pi plus 3 pi by 20. But you know that if you have to cancel, you have to get it less than pi, right? Now pi plus 3 pi by 20 means greater than pi. How do I bring it to an angle less than pi? Instead of writing 180 plus theta, we know that cos of 180 plus theta is same as cos of 180 minus theta. So just replace pi plus 3 pi by 20 with pi minus 3 pi by 20. So you'll end up getting answer as 17 pi by 20. That's also a straightforward one. We move to the next one. So whenever you get half angle formula, right? Whenever you get sine of half theta or cos of half theta, a starting point should be the half angle formula. We know that sines 2 sine square theta by 2 is 1 minus cos theta. So let me call this as theta. So sine theta by 2 will be root of 1 minus cos theta by 2. Now just simple substitution. For theta, I will have to substitute cos inverse 4 by 5. So cos of cos inverse 4 by 5 whole divided by 2. So cos and cos inverse gets cancelled. 1 minus 4 by 5, which is 1 by 5. So you'll get 1 by root 10. That is the answer. This is again an easy one. Let's move to the next one. Fifth question. Whenever you have inverse trigonometric functions with an equal to sign, right? Just try to pull everything, pull all the functions to the RHS so that on the LHS you're only left with x. So what do we do here? Sine, we take it to the other side. So we end up getting sine inverse 0. So how much is sine inverse 0? So when you take this to the other side, it becomes sine inverse 0, which is 0. So I'll be left with 2 cos inverse cot 2 tan inverse x equal to 0. This 2 also goes away. Next, when I take cos inverse to this side, that becomes cos 0, which is 1, right? So I'll end up getting cot 2 tan inverse x equals 1. That means 2 tan inverse x should be pi by 4, or tan inverse x should be pi by 8. So what is x then? X is tan pi by 8. Now how do I find tan pi by 8? We use the formula tan 2 theta is equal to 2 tan theta by 1 minus tan square theta. And for theta, just substitute pi by 8. So 2 theta becomes pi by 4. So you'll get a quadratic. 1 is equal to, I'll call tan theta as x. So when you solve the quadratic, you'll end up getting x square plus 2x minus 1 equal to 0. And when you solve the quadratic, you'll end up getting the roots, which is minus 2 plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac, which is 2 root 2 whole divided by 2. So you get minus 1 plus or minus root 2. It has to be plus root 2, right? So minus 1 plus root 2 should be the answer if theta is pi by 8. So we mark this. Seventh one, we'll take it up. It's an easy question. So secant inverse 2, right? I can always write tan square theta as secant square theta minus 1. So I can write this as secant square secant inverse 2 minus 1. Similarly, cot square I can write as cosecant square cosecant inverse 3 minus 1. So secant and secant inverse cancels. So you'll have 2 square. So 2 square will be 4 minus 1 plus 9 minus 1. So that is 13 minus 2, which is 11. So now, for the sixth question, I would recommend an easy method. Just substitute theta as 0. Okay, when you substitute theta as, or rather just substitute theta as 90 degrees. And substitute theta as pi by 2. So when you substitute theta as pi by 2, you'll get cot inverse 0 plus root 2 divided by 0 minus root 2, which is cot inverse minus 1. And cot inverse minus 1 is 3 pi by 4, right? Now you'll have to see which is the right answer. It's so obvious that the answer must be D, because if I substitute theta as pi by 2, pi minus pi by 4 gives me 3 pi by 4. So that is the answer. Now, this question again is a very straightforward one. Whenever these type of questions come, where the last term is n, most simplest way to solve is put n as 1. So when you put n as 1, you should just get the first term, right? So what is the first term? Tan inverse 1 by 3. So where are you getting tan inverse 1 by 3 when you substitute n as 1? So that's option B. Because when you substitute n as 1, you're getting here 1 by 3. All right. So these are all tricks where without solving can easily get the answer. Ninth one and 10th. How do we solve this? So the ninth one, sine inverse x plus sine inverse 2x equals pi by 2. Whenever these type of questions come, transfer this to the other side. So you get sine inverse 2x equal to pi by 2 minus sine inverse x, which is cos inverse x. But I can always write cos inverse x as sine inverse root 1 minus x square. So now, if the sine inverse terms gets cancelled, you'll end up getting 2x is equal to root 1 minus x square. When you square on both sides, you'll get 4x square is 1 minus x square. So x will be 1 by root 5. So that's a direct answer. What about the next one? Next one, we'll have to make use of the identity sine inverse x plus cos inverse x equals pi by 2. Similarly, sine inverse y plus cos inverse y is also pi by 2. So now when I add both, I'll get sine inverse x plus sine inverse y plus cos inverse x plus cos inverse y is equal to pi. But they've already given sine inverse x plus sine inverse y is 2 pi by 3. So if they've given that this is 2 pi by 3, 120 degrees. So then cos inverse x plus cos inverse y becomes 60 degrees or pi by 3. So if the sum of two angles is 60, and the difference is 30, obviously the only solutions for this is x must be 45 degrees, y must be 15 degrees. So x has, first angle must be 45. Cos inverse x must be 45. Cos inverse y must be 15. So what is x? X is cos 45, which is 1 by root 2. So we solved all the 10 questions of inverse trigonometry. Let's now move to matrices. Or first we'll take up continuity differentiability, then we'll come to matrices. So 21 onwards. So the function f of x is greatest integer of x plus greatest integer of x plus half. Where do you think? What is the left hand limit? So when x is slightly less than half, this is going to be 0. And this whole thing will be slightly less than 1. So this is also 0. So left hand limit is 0. So first one is wrong. What about the right hand limit? You can directly understand both are greatest integer functions. So this both of these are incorrect, right? Because the limit cannot be a fraction. It has to be an integer, right? Now we'll have to check whether left hand limit and right hand limit are equal. Obviously it is not, because at half, this is continuous. This has both left hand limit and right hand limit as 0. But this function, left hand limit is 0, right hand limit is 1. So therefore, f of x is not continuous at x equal to half. 23rd is a very easy question. As x tends to 0, sine 1 by x, right? So sine 1 by 0 plus tends to sine infinity, which we don't know what it is. And left hand limit will tend to sine minus infinity. And we have no idea of what sine infinity, sine minus infinities. But we know for sure they need not be equal. So because it's a very oscillatory number, the limit at x equal to 0 does not exist. So whatever be the value of k, you can never make this continuous. So the answer is none of these. Now, how to find the points of discontinuity? This is a very straightforward question. We know that mod x is never discontinuous, right? And neither is x discontinuous. So this is based on the property, if the first function is continuous and the second function is continuous, then the sum or difference of both will also be continuous. So how many points is f of x discontinuous at? The answer is 0 points, right? No need to even solve. You just need to have the basic rule, right? 25th one, very easy. Just apply L'Hospital rule. You'll end up getting the answer as a plus b. Because when you differentiate, you'll get 1 by 1 plus ax minus 1 by 1 minus bx. Here you'll get into a, and here you'll get into minus b divided by 1. Now when you apply limit x tends to 0, you'll end up getting a plus b. 24th one, the function p times x plus 1 plus q times x minus 1 is continuous at x equal to 1. So if it has to be continuous at x equal to 1, what is the condition? This is quite, again, easy. Let's use this property that greatest integer of x plus 1 is nothing but greatest integer of x plus 1. So if I use that property, then I can rewrite this function as p times greatest integer of x plus q times greatest integer of x, and then plus p minus q, right? So then we end up getting p plus q times greatest integer of x plus p minus q. Now how do we proceed? This is the important step. We know that the greatest integer function has discontinuity at all integers. That means at x equal to 1, it cannot be continuous. But if I want it to be continuous, then this entire term must be 0. So that 0 into a discontinuous function becomes a continuous function. So p plus q has to be 0. That's the only condition. Okay, so it's a direct one, but a very good one. The way we try to conclude is, I know that greatest integer is discontinuous, but if I want it to be continuous, the only way I can do that is the coefficient must be 0. 26th is again a direct one. Dy by dx is simply dy by dt, which is 2at divided by dx by dt, which is 2a. So you'll end up getting t. Now d square y by dx square is derivative of t, which is 1 into dt by dx. And dt by dx, we figured out dx by dt is 2a. So dt by dx will be 1 by 2a. We're just using chain rule. So the answer is 1 by 2a. 27th question. Whenever we have product of several terms, we have to take log on both sides. So ln y equals ln sin x plus ln sin 2x, so on. Now when you take log on both sides, you get 1 by y dy by dx is equal to 1 by sin x into derivative of sin, which is cos, right? So you'll get cot x plus 2 cot 2x, like that. So in general, I can say summation k cot kx. So the right answer is this, because dy by dx will be summation of k cot kx into y. Again, a very easy, direct one. So how do we solve this? So this is similar to the inverse trigonometry question. You can write 2 by root 13 as cos alpha. 3 by root 13 will be sin alpha. So you'll end up getting cos inverse cos x plus alpha, because you'll get cos A cos B minus sin A sin B, which is cos of A plus B. So this will simplify to cos of x plus alpha, and then cos inverse and cos gets cancelled. So you'll have x plus alpha. Derivative of x plus alpha is 1. So that is the answer. Next, 29th. So y is f of x equal to x cube and g of x equals to x cube minus 4x. Right? So out of both of them, who satisfies Rolle's theorem in the interval minus 2 to 2? Obviously, Rolle's theorem will be satisfied only if f of minus 2 and f of 2 both are equal, right? So let's calculate. F of minus 2 is minus 8 and f of 2 is 8. So obviously, Rolle's theorem won't be satisfied here. What about this? Here, you'll see that g of minus 2 and g of 2 both are equal to 0. That means g will satisfy Rolle's theorem, f will not, but both f and g will satisfy the mean value theorem. That means first statement is correct and third statement is correct. So option D is the right answer, right? 30th one, an interesting one. If G is x minus 1 by x and FOG is this, we need to figure out what is F. So what operation should I do on G so that I end up with that term? It's again easy. If you want x cube minus 1 by x cube, you will have to cube g of x. What is g of x whole cube? Let's see. G of x whole cube is a cube minus b cube minus 3ab into a minus b. So this gets cancelled, right? So g of x minus 1 by x whole cube, if I cube this, I get this. But now, what's there on the RHS? On the RHS, there's only x cube minus 1 by x cube. So that means I'll have to keep only this on the RHS. So I'll have to transfer all the other terms to the other side. So what do I get? I get x cube minus 1 by x cube is nothing but x minus 1 by x whole cube plus 3 times x minus 1 by x. Now this gives me what f is, right? What did the function f do? The input was x minus 1 by x. To the function f, the input is g of x. So I can rewrite this as g of x whole cube plus 3 times g of x. So what is the function f doing? It is cubing the input g of x and then adding the input, adding 3 times the input to it. So f of g of x is simply g of x whole cube plus 3 times g of x. That means f of x would be x cube plus 3x. So now when I differentiate, f dash x will be 3x square plus 3. That's option A. So first 20 questions are done. Now we go to the matrices part. Again, quite easy. So let's start. We'll start with this question. AB is equal to B. BA is A. Then they're asking what is A square plus B square. This is a little tricky question. So AB is B. So now what we need to do, because they're asking for B square, I'll multiply on the left hand side with B on both sides. Left hand multiplication I'm going to do. Why am I doing left hand multiplication? Why not right hand multiplication? There's a reason. The reason is when I do a left hand multiplication, BA, right? I get BA. And what is BA? According to the question, BA is nothing but A. So BA becomes A. So I'll get AB is B square. But what is AB? AB is nothing but B. So AB I can simplify as B. That means B square is nothing but B. Similarly, I can show A square is nothing but A. So A square plus B square is nothing but A plus B. It's option D. So what is the key funda here? Because they're asking for B square, you multiply B on both sides. But whether you should multiply it on the left or right, you should multiply such that on left hand side, you should not get B square. Only on RHS you should get, right? So that's why I multiplied it on the left. Because if I had multiplied on the right, then left hand side also I'll have B square, right hand side also I'll have B square. right? Keep that in mind. A 12th question. It's quite easy one. How to find the inverse of a 2 cross 2 matrix? So for a 2 cross 2 matrix, A, B, C, D, the inverse is simply 1 by determinant, which is AD minus BC. And matrix wise, just swap the principal diagonal elements, right? So DA, and the non-principal diagonal element, just add a minus sign. So similarly here, the inverse, so the first matrix remains as it is. The second matrix, the determinant is 1 plus tan square theta, which is secant square theta. So 1 by secant square theta will be there. And then the inverse is principal diagonal elements you have to swap, and non-principal diagonal elements multiplied with minus. So when I do this, now when I multiply, I'll get, when I do the matrix multiplication, first row with first column will give me 1 minus tan square theta. And first row with the second column will give me 0. Sorry, it will give me minus 2 tan theta. And second row with the first column will give me tan theta plus tan theta, which is 2 tan theta. And the last will again give me 1 minus tan square theta. Now if I divide each of them, secant square I can write as 1 plus tan square. Now if I divide each of them by 1 plus tan square theta, the first term, 1 minus tan square by 1 plus tan square, that's cos 2 theta. So A is cos 2 theta. And 2 tan theta by 1 plus tan square is sin 2 theta. So A is cos 2 theta, B is sin 2 theta. So that is the right answer. So any of these options, right? It's correct. So next one is a NCERT stuff. They've given this matrix and they're saying us, you write this as a sum of symmetric and skew symmetric matrix. So the symmetric matrix, how do I get it? And skew symmetric. So skew symmetric matrix is simply given by B minus B transpose by 2. So just take the transpose. So you'll get 2, 3, 5 minus 1 and 2, 3, 5 minus. So when I subtract 3 minus 5 is minus 2, right? Half of minus 2. So what is half of minus 2? Minus 1, right? So where do I see minus 1 in that position? This is the matrix. So this is the answer. It's a direct question. What about the 14 and 15? Let's first do 15th one. Whenever they ask a square minus 5a, etc., we can directly write the characteristic equation for a matrix. Just write this as 3 minus lambda, 2 minus lambda, and take the determinant of this matrix once you add minus lambda to the principal diagonal elements. And equate the determinant to 0. When you equate the determinant of a minus lambda I to 0, you get the characteristic equation. So you'll end up getting lambda square minus 5 lambda plus 7 equal to 0. And replace lambda with a. So you'll get a square minus 5a plus 7i equal to 0. Or a square minus 5a is simply minus 7i, which is option D. 14th question. They're saying A plus A transpose is identity. So when you add this to its transpose, which is cos 2 theta, sin 2 theta, minus sin 2 theta, cos 2 theta. Right? This is the transpose. So when I add it, I'll get 2 cos 2 theta. So 2 cos 2 theta should be 1. That means cos 2 theta must be what? Cos 2 theta should be half. That means 2 theta should be 60 degrees. So theta should be 30 degrees. It's a direct one. 16th question. They're asking a power n, right? So one way to check is probably put n as 1. So when you put n as 1, a power 1 should be a itself, right? That means it should be 2 power 0 into a. So when you put n as 1, k must be 0. So where are you getting k as 0? Put n as 1. When you put n as 1, 2 power 0, you get 2 power 0 as 1. This is ruled out. When you put n as 1, this is also ruled out. You'll get 2. Now it has to be either this or this. Now how do you know whether which is correct? Just find out how much is a square, right? Let's find out how much is a square. You'll end up getting 4 plus 4, 8, right? You'll end up getting 8. That means whatever was 2 has now become 8. So when you put n as 2, the matrix A must get multiplied by 4, right? Because initially matrix A had 2, but the final answer has 8. That means matrix A must be multiplied by 4. That means 2 power k must be 4. That means k must be 2. So out of these two options, which is going to give you k as 2 when n is 2? Naturally, when n is 2, this is the right answer, because when you substitute n as 2, 2 minus 1 is 1. 1 into 2 is 2. So it's option D. Again, an easy way to solve this, right? Next one. A transpose. So just multiply with the inverse. When you multiply the first row with the first column, you get cos square plus sine square. And when you multiply first row with the second, you'll get 0, right? It's very easy to understand. You'll get an identity matrix when you multiply both of them. You'll get 1, 0, 0, 1. And this is a standard question. If P and Q are symmetric, whenever they say P and Q are symmetric, should remember P transpose is P, Q transpose is Q. And now they're asking us to comment on this. So this is a very often repeated question. Answer for this is Q symmetric. How? Because if I take the transpose of the whole thing, right, I'll get PQ ka transpose minus QP ka transpose. But we know PQ transpose is Q transpose P transpose. And this is P transpose Q transpose. And we know that because P and Q are symmetric, Q transpose is Q, P transpose is P. So you end up understanding when I took transpose of this matrix, I got a result which is negative of the original matrix. That means the original matrix is skew symmetric. So direct question. How do I find the inverse of this matrix? Just try multiplying the first row with the first column, which is giving you answer as 1. So obviously, option A is ruled out, because when you multiply first row with first column, you get a very large value. Now, it can either be option 2, 3, 4, right? Now, how do I know which is correct? Multiply the second row with second column. That also should give you 1. So when I multiply second row with the second column, this option goes away, because you'll see either one of these. Now the third row with third column should also give me 1. So third row with third column should give me 1. Which is that? So obviously option B, right? Because when I multiply third row with the third column, minus 1 into 5 is minus 5, and 3 into 2 is plus 6. So it's option B. So rather than actually multiplying, just multiply first row with first column, second row with second column, third row with the third column. All of them should be 1. With that itself, we can eliminate the options. The last question, 20th one. So they're asking B, right? Because they're asking B, let's transpose this. So we'll end up getting 7 minus 10, 17, 0, 6, 31. And that's 3A transpose plus 4B. Now, when you add up both, right? When you add up this equation and this equation, A transpose gets cancelled. So you'll end up getting 6B is nothing but 7 minus 1, 6, minus 6, and 12, 18, 6, and 24. So obviously, B will be simply the first row will be 1, 3, then minus 1, 1, and then 2, 4, which is option A. So that completes our entire CET paper. We solved it in less than 40 minutes with entire discussion. So I'm sure this is a solvable paper. Within first 20 minutes itself, we can complete the paper. Thank you, students. Hope you got benefited. Let's meet again for the JEE paper discussion.